One thing I tell people all the time is that I'm so blessed as a black man in America to have had and still have my father. And I tell people, I trust you more than any other man that will ever walk this earth.
You remember a couple weeks ago, you were watching TV in the den or whatever, and I just came and I just curled up on you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually just about to say that.
Yeah.
And I just felt that in that moment, you needed me. And I knew
right.
it was something deeper than
Yes.
what it just was when you just leaning on my shoulder.
Your physical presence was something that I needed at that time. You know, it wasn't anything that was going to be a long, drawn out kind of dialogue, whatever, just that you were available, you know, for me to come and be vulnerable. You know, I'm always going to be your father, but, you know, as we grow, you know, the relationship of man to man, you know, comes forth, you know, so.
Of course.
And the question reads, what do you think is the biggest challenge in our relationship right now, and how can we overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge, learning how to navigate what's next, because of the three of us, I'm the only one that hasn't gotten married yet. And I don't have any kids. So I'm afraid, and I mean, it's like, I'm not scared to go into it, but I'm afraid of like now it's here, now what do I do? But we haven't had those conversations because I haven't had that experience yet.
Right.
And I feel like, it's like, I don't know if it's gonna happen. Like, I've been telling people lately that I'm skeptical of it because I don't know. It's like, where do I find that one person that I know I can confide in and have that trust and relationship with? I'm trying to focus and heal on myself. That's why I'm going to therapy and, you know, writing my feelings down and all that. But
If I was going to answer this, what's the biggest challenge in our relationship right now and how do we overcome it? You know, my thing would be giving you the understanding that those things that you desire, they ain't as big a priority as you might think. You know, you keep on building you know, you keep stacking your cheese, you keep making decisions that you're comfortable and confident in, you know, because a lot of times what happens as men, you know, we pour into relationships, you know, and the satisfaction is in having made another person happy, but then we, you know, in our little inner closet, really not satisfied. And I would contend that's because we didn't love on ourselves enough. You know, love you first. You know, make sure that you have maximized everything you want to do. Then you're qualified to have a mate, you know, a partner.
what is one experience you wish we never shared?
I wish we never shared the experience of the night that, you know, I asked you guys to call the police because mom wasn't behaving like an adult and we got to tussle in and I got arrested. I don't know how much you remember about that night because you were very young, but that it even happened is something that I wish you had never had to experience.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of that night. I do remember you guys were going back and forth. Like you said, I was really young. Y'all were going back and forth. I don't know what was said specifically, but I do remember the sirens. I do remember the flashing lights. And I do remember watching you go away.
What experience do you think has shaped my identity the most and why? I'm gonna read that again. What experience do you think has shaped my identity the most and why?
The first divorce. Of course you were shell-shocked, and of course, I mean, I've never been married, but I would figure as a married man, you wouldn't expect your wife to leave you, to have everything you worked hard for, you know, just go away. You know, that shaped you to who you are now. And I'm so grateful that, you know, I'm just grateful that you didn't leave, you know, because you could have just up and like, you know what, my wife's gone, you know, this ain't working. You could have just bounced.
Yeah, that wasn't an option.
It wasn't an option, but I'm just grateful that you stayed.
Yeah. All right. Well, it goes a little something like this. When mom left and we got divorced, y'all were 10, 9, and 5. And so nothing in my upbringing led anyone that knew me to believe that I was going to leave my children. Like, that was not, it just really was not an option. So you know how people have that terminology, I can do bad by myself. We wasn't even going to do bad. In the South, in 95, for a father to get custody of his 3 children and the oldest is a girl, that wasn't happening. That judge looked at me, looked at your mom, looked back at me and said, yeah, custody to Mr. We've been rolling ever since, yes?
When do you think I need you the most, and why do you think that is?
I think you need me the most when your best laid plans just crumble. And not only that, there's no real good reason as to why they crumbled. That's when I think you need me the most, you know?
Yeah, especially when the plans go to crumble, you're absolutely right. Because like you said, we're planners, and I would have all my ducks in a row. You know, if something doesn't work, you know, I'll readjust. But then there are those days where everything just goes out of place and I'm like, okay, back to square one. And if I need advice or anything, I would definitely come to you.
The only constant is change. Sometimes the explanation is that there isn't one, you know, and a lot of people grapple to try to find an explanation and put the round, you know, peg, square hole, and and it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you just shrug your shoulder and say, oh, well.
That's life.
Okay, yeah. And the question reads, when have you seen me the most vulnerable, and what did it teach you about me?
You're most vulnerable. I can't think of too many moments other than when you leaned on me that you were at your most vulnerable, because we don't talk about a lot of things, and it's not because we don't want to, you know, we just don't. And when you're in that moment, it taught me that, you know, you're willing to at least try to be willing to be vulnerable around me. And us as men, you know, we don't have that space where it's just us men and we're allowed to be vulnerable. And if it does happen, it doesn't happen very often.
That's a part of the problem. Vulnerability being equated with weakness.
Yes.
You know, and of course that's a thing with men, you know, I ain't weak, you know, but vulnerability allows for the opportunity for people that you trust, you know, to share in how you can get to the solution side of whatever it is that's, you know, bothering you or concerning you in that moment. So I think vulnerability is tied in with trust, you know. I know that I can be vulnerable with you like I had never thought I could be before, because you've gotten into an age and maturity just to know that, you know, you've got my back, be it verbal or nonverbal. You know, we ain't always got to talk for you to understand, you know, the weight of the situation and how to, you know, govern yourself accordingly. Yeah.
Good. What is something about our family history that you want me to pass on to future generations?
That as in the family, we are gentlemen. Okay? There's a standard of how we carry ourselves when we go out in public. You know, my mom always used to say, think before you speak, you know? So getting your little subject and predicates together, because you shouldn't speak if you can't improve the silence. And we instill life skills, like you know how to cook, you know how to wash clothes, you know, what a clean, orderly household should look like. Those are not gender specific with us.
Right.
You know, so those are the things I would want you to pass on. If it needs to be done and you're an able-bodied human being, it's not women's work and men's work. It's the work that needs to be done.
Right.
Excuse me, I had a little flush of emotion here. If this were to be our last conversation, what is something you never want me to forget?
I never want you to forget that, wow. I don't want you to ever forget how much I love you. I don't want you to forget that I am who I am because of you. And nobody can take that away from me.
Back at you, baby boy. Back at you.
If this were to be our last conversation, I don't want you to forget that I did my best.
Here you go.
You know? I mean, I'm not perfect. I did things my way. I want you to remember that I wanted to be as much as I could be with what I had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't much, but I could do something.
You're on course.
All right, come on, hug it out.
Is that how that ends?
Hug it out.
That's
Come
how
here.
we do it?
Hug it out. I love you, Dad.
Oh, I love you, Paul Arthur Alexander. What a great name, huh?
Yes.
Hey guys, Melanie again. Thank you so much for watching. Currently on the set of The And. If you want to bring these conversations at home, check it out at our shop. And if you want to watch more of our videos, check it out below. Thanks.